Console mic. Push to talk. Dim. Button. Console. Built-in mic. Console equalizer. Button. Console equalizer. Built-in mic. Built-in mic. Console equalizer. Button. 50%. Mic. 50%. Adjustable. Swipe up or down with one finger to adjust the value. Microphone equalizer. Console mic switch is currently listening. 50%. Adjustable. Back. Button. Auto ducking. Console mic switch off. Off. Possible text. Off on. Console mic switch off. On. 50%. 75%. 50%. Release. 800 milliseconds. 50%. Adjustable. Swipe up or down with one finger. Microphone equalizer. 50%. 50%. Adjustable. LW. 50%. Adjustable. Back. Back. Button. Auto ducking. Console mic is currently active. Strength. 75%. 50%. Release. 800 milliseconds. 50%. Micro. Console mic is currently listening. 50%. Adjustable. Back. Button. Place effect. Button. 0. 2. Place effect. Pause. Button. Console mic switch off. On. Built-in mic. Console mic switch off. Push to top. Edit effects. Button. No effect. 0. Place effect. 0. 9. Selected. Playlist. Button. Select. Chat. Button. Place effect. 0. 11. Place effect. Chat. Button. Selected. There are no messages yet. Be the first to say something. Invite Facebook friends. Pause. Button. Pause. Button. Pause. Pause.
Hi there, this is Sai again, and I am so glad that all of you are here. Here are my words of encouragement today. I know that life is tough, but you can do anything you set your mind to. As long as your goals are realistic, they are achievable, they are attainable, and that you have a proper deadline for what you want to pursue. A lot of times people stop themselves from doing what they want to do because they believe in some misconceptions. Maybe it is some discouragement that they might have received from family or friends. It could be that I think that self-doubt can be your own worst enemy. So it's not just about other people's opinions, but it's about the doubt that you place on yourself and messages that you give to yourself. I've heard of the term self-talk being used before, and self-talk can be positive or it can be negative. Now, I don't think that thinking positive thoughts is the only thing that needs to be done. But maybe start out with small goals that you want to achieve and then build on those. I'll give an example. So let's say that your goal is to find love this year. So just sitting on your couch and doing nothing is not going to help. You can say something to yourself like, and here's a bad example of what you could say to yourself. You can say, it's the pandemic, there's no point in socializing, good people are hard to find, the internet is full of scammers, what's the point anyway? And you can even take yourself to a really dark place. But you have to remember that if you set a goal and you decide that you have to do something, then there are some steps you need to take. So yes, it's true that you can't socialize the way you used to. Yes, it's true that there are people on online platforms, whether you're looking for friendship or romantic relationships. There are going to be some people who are on these platforms for the wrong reasons. But you have to put your best foot forward and decide up front what your standards are going to be, what your expectations are, what kind of background you hope this person is from, what kind of belief system do you expect this person to have? Do you hope that the person you went to look for has similar values that you do? And all of these have to be taken into consideration. Do you have shared interests? That doesn't mean that you can't have different interests, but do you have at least one or two things that you have common ground over? It's so important to know what you're looking for. And then you have to ask yourself, am I what the person is looking for as well? So, for instance, if you're looking for someone who is kind and down to earth, are you also kind and down to earth? If you're looking for... And that's why I'm not mentioning any physical characteristics or anything, because that won't matter in the long run. They're all superficial qualities that we are expected to look for. Do you enjoy travel? Because if you're looking for someone who is well-traveled, then he or she would want a similar interest on your end as well. If you're well-read, then you're going to attract someone who's also well-read. If you have a disability or illness that affects your life in a significant way, do you hope that the person that you're looking for is going to support you? Is this person going to be compassionate? Or is this person just going to throw another pity party, which none of us want to be invited to in the first place? Let's step aside and talk about something else. Maybe it's a career goal, or maybe you're trying to get a new degree so that you can switch careers. Maybe you want to do something else for that matter. Maybe your goal is to climb a mountain. I don't know what your goal is. Maybe it is to improve your prayer life. Maybe it is to be a more authentic, transparent person, and maybe you want to challenge yourself in some other way. But the decision is yours. So once you set a goal, how long are you going to hopefully take to achieve it? So you don't have to have the exact date, but maybe you want to achieve this goal in 18 months. Think about that. So what steps are you going to take? Is it realistic? Is it doable in the current circumstances that you have? It's better to figure out what your journey is going to look like before you start it. It's like taking a road trip, and you decide, okay, you're going to take this road trip to Tucson, Arizona. And you take this trip, you start this trip to Tucson, Arizona, but you're not prepared for it. You don't have all the luggage you need. You don't have an itinerary. You don't know which state you're going to drive through. So you just blindly go on this journey. But if you're going to actually take a proper trip to Tucson, Arizona, you're going to figure out, okay, how do I get there as quickly as I can? In which hotels am I going to stay at? Am I going to drive or fly there? Are there going to be pros and cons to both? If I drive there, it's going to take me a few days or so. And if I fly there, it's just going to take a few hours. But the price of that travel is going to be different. So if you're driving, you're going to pay for your fuel, and your snacks and your hotel stays. And if you fly there, you're going to pay for your travel, your plane ticket. And maybe if you're going to park at the airport, you'll be paying for parking. And maybe you're going to have to pay for your rental car or Uber once you get to your destination. So, and then what are you going to actually do while you're in Tucson? Are you going to explore the Navajo culture scene there? Are you going to eat at Del Taco? Are you going to eat a Sonoran hot dog? Are you going to meet some old friends that you've never met in a long time? But that's how you have to approach the smallest goals that you set. It's just like taking that trip to Tucson, Arizona. Is it realistic to go to Tucson, Arizona? Yes, I think a lot of people can do it. Unless there's some circumstances that are hindering you. So maybe traveling out of state is not in your budget now. Okay, so if you can't travel to Tucson, could I just take a 2 or 3 hour trip instead? That's more realistic. And maybe once my circumstances change, I can make this trip. And so that's how I would encourage people to approach personal goals as well. So find a goal that's realistic, achievable. Can it be done? How long is it going to take me? Do I know what steps to take in order to achieve that goal? Do I have people supporting me to help me achieve that goal? How am I going to celebrate once I achieve that goal? So it could be as simple as a glass of champagne, or maybe you treat yourself
I'm so glad the channel did not
other
time
way.
Sarah replied.
So just be careful and start out small and choose your goals wisely and be patient and kind with yourself. Right. We tell ourselves, okay, be kind to yourself. Oh, but you have to be tough on yourself too. You have to be both, which is very hard. So you don't have to beat yourself if you're unable to achieve your goal, but maybe you could figure out what you can do differently. It's better to set up your roadmap when you're trying to achieve your goal in the first place than to kind of guess your way through and to figure out what to do next. So let's say you go to Tucson, Arizona, and your GPS says that there's some roadblocks. So you can either get frustrated about that, or you can just take the alternative route. All kinds of things can get in the way. And have room for some spontaneous moments. Maybe there is a cool new friend breakfast that you didn't expect to find. Maybe there is this antique shop you want to go to on the way. Maybe your flight gets delayed or bumped or something. So sometimes you need to know how to adapt, because just because you want to achieve a certain goal doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. For instance, I said that I was going to go through graduate school as soon as I finished undergraduate school. But then I became chronically ill for a while. And, I worked as a contract worker for some time. And then I eventually got laid off from that. And then my family and I lost our house from an accidental fire that we never expected. So things are going to happen whether you like it or not. So you have to figure out what you're going to do next. And maybe you thought you'd start your graduate program in January, but it ends up being May. So be flexible, be realistic, and also be mindful and be tough enough on yourself that you push yourself to do what it takes, but also keep in mind that you sometimes have to make adjustments. Thank you so much for your time.
14. 1. Pause. Button.
You can
Pause the recording.
follow me on Facebook. Type in LeeKshika, and I should show up. You can send me a text, whatever it takes. Thank you so much for your time once again.
Time's almost up. Pause. Button. 14. Pause. Button.